And this is almost the perfect scenario for having a raucous crowd. South Carolina fans never expected, as recent as 2 or 3 weeks ago, that they would have any chance in this game, but their team's red hot. They just beat like you said, not a great football team, but Auburn's got tons of talent. They beat Florida. They're just on a roll based on their expectations. And then they know Clemson's a little bit down. They can't score a lot of points typically. And it's just, they gotta be thinking, we've got an opportunity here. And so let's push this team over the top. And you got to think, they haven't had a chance in this game for a long, long time.
Yeah. First year head coach, they've already won more games than anybody could have anticipated. And, they can come in, they coming into this game, basically, they don't have a whole lot to lose. I mean, if they lose, they were supposed to lose. But, they have nothing to lose in this game. They can just leave it all out there. I expect a dogfight. I think this is going to be a very competitive football game. And to me, it's like every other week. It's going to come down to Clemson's offensive line. Can they control that South Carolina defensive front? Because it's bigger and more physical than that Wake Forest defensive front was. And Clemson's had problems with those bigger physical defensive lines all season long.
Every rivalry across the country, and we're going to see most of them this Saturday, have a different feel, a different vibe, a different angle to them. What is Dabo's slant on this? How does he typically approach this game? How much does he talk about the rivalry and how important it is?
It's important to this Clemson football program. Dabo's made it important. It's one of the goals at the beginning of the season, win the state championship, and it's the only goal on their board that centers around one game. Win the opener, win the division, win the conference. I can't remember all of them. Win the conference, win the state championship, and win the finale. Even making the playoffs not a goal, but winning this game is a goal. Every year they go into this game wanting to win. He says the same thing every year. He knows how important it is, not just the players in the program, but everybody in the state. It affects everybody in the state. It doesn't get the same kind of play nationally that, say, the Iron Bowl does with Auburn and Alabama, but it's basically the same kind of thing. In state. Half the state's one side, half the state's the other side, and it affects every family. No matter who wins on Saturday, it's going to be the topic of conversation at church the next day. It's going to be the topic of conversation at dinner the next day, all across the state. So yeah, it's a huge game. It's a huge rivalry game, and he sells that every year.
And I got to think, similar to the Florida State game, no matter how many times now his team wins this game by 4 or 5 touchdowns, there's still something in the back of his mind that remembers getting beat down year after year after year at the beginning of his stay at Clemson.
Oh, yeah. He won't ever forget that. He even touched on that this morning. He was asked about that, and he said that all came down to one thing during that 5-game losing streak. Clemson turned the ball over 15 times. South Carolina turned it over 3. I think in that 5th and final loss, Clemson has 6 turnovers. Those teams, in my opinion, I thought it became mental back then. And those teams, it was just a mental roadblock they never could get past. And it took a new core of guys to come in and get over that hump with Deshaun Watson and Mike Williams and those guys that went on to win a couple of national championships. But yeah, I don't think he'll ever forget that. I know he's got a good relationship with Shane Beamer, who's there now. So I don't know how that affects things. But while Will Muschamp was there, South Carolina was one of those teams that I think when he had the opportunity to stick it in a little bit, he was going to do it. Now, I don't know if it's going to be the same way with Shane Beamer there because like I said, they're pretty good friends and stuff. We just have to see how it plays out over the years. But Shane Beamer being there definitely adds a new layer to the rivalry. It brings a new energy into it. it's going to be fun to watch for a few years.
Clemson versus South Carolina, 7:30. The SEC Network on Saturday night, 7:30 Eastern Time.